Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Leo Lounge, where every story reminds someone they're not alone. I'm your host, Mark Sheffield, founder and developer of Leo Mind and Body. One of the things I've realized through these conversations is that chronic illness doesn't just change your health, it can change your identity, your relationships, your future plans, and the way you see yourself. Learning how to rebuild after that isn't easy, but it's something so many people in this community understand. Today's guest is Lily. Before her health changed, Lily was an athlete who loved staying active and even served as swim captain in high school. But after developing chronic illness as a teenager, she found herself navigating a completely different life than the one she had imagined. Today, she's passionate about having conversations about her chronic illness, resilience, friendships, identity, and finding your way through life's unexpected turns. Lily, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh.
So
Yee.
happy to have you on today. So, before we dive into your journey, I'd love everyone listening to get to know you. Tell us a little about yourself.
So, my name is Lily. My middle name is actually Ray. So, on all my social media platforms, I go by my middle name, which is pretty fun. I'm turning 20 at the end of this year. I'm a Capricorn. I have the same birthday as Timothy Chalamet, December 27th. A lot of people don't know that. I talk about a whole bunch of topics on chronic illness and like relatability and like what it's like being a teenage girl and like navigating life. And yeah, that's a little bit about me, nothing too crazy.
So, before your health changed, sports were a huge part of your life. What did you love most about being an athlete?
So, growing up, before I could even walk, I knew how to swim. Swim was my sport. When I was younger, I played soccer. I played soccer all the way until I was 17 and doing co ed. And I did swim most of high school until my health did a rapid decline. I think with swim, it's such a individual sport. Like you're not competing with other people as a team. It is all you in that moment. And the biggest thing for me was once you hear that buzzer and once you dive in, my brain went silent. And as an anxious person, my brain is never silent. So that was the best thing for me. And when it came to soccer, soccer was such a team sport and you had to be a team player, and I was a goalie. And that also is kind of individual because you're away from everyone else while everyone else is running the field. So that's why I loved those sports so much. And I still miss them to this day.
When you find something you love like that, like when I code, the rest of my brain just goes silent and you can just focus on one thing at a time. It's such like a unique feeling.
Yeah, it's something I still miss to this day. And I've been able to find it in swim instructing and being a lifeguard. And it's great.
If someone asked your friends to describe you, what do you think they'd say?
I would say some of my friends would say I'm very independent. Like, I am the type of friend that you don't know I'm in a relationship. I don't need anyone. And I'm very outgoing. Like, there is not a time where you don't see me dancing or enjoying myself. I rather be embarrassing myself than being normal or bland. I'm very bubbly. I'm very easy to talk to. Even on my TikTok, I call myself a professional yapper because I don't know how to be quiet. So I'm very lively, bubbly. My favorite color is yellow, and people say I am the color yellow.
So, your health really started changing when you're around 16 years old. Looking back now, what were those first few months like?
So the biggest thing that I remember was I've been bullied my entire school experience. So like since pre-K to senior year of high school and even now in college, going into my sophomore year, I've dealt with bullying. And so at first I didn't really notice anything was wrong because I thought it was just my anxiety. It was all in my head. Until I started getting really sick. Like I started like anytime I ate something, my body wouldn't I couldn't tolerate anything. So I went to an allergist and I thought it was gluten. It wasn't. Like we literally went through every single thing and we still couldn't figure out what it was. And so all of a sudden, I started not being able to stand up for long periods of times. Like my whole world would like black out or like everything would look like fireworks on the 4th of July. Like my vision, I couldn't handle anything. I couldn't drive. I couldn't function like a normal human being. And then all of a sudden I started passing out all the time. Like, every time someone would hear something drop in the shower, my parents would come running. My little sister would come running. And then I started having non-epileptic seizures, and that's when all the warning signs started coming together, and my mom being in the medical field, it started scaring everyone on a new level. But I think I downplayed it so much for such a long time because it's just anxiety. It's just me being anxious. It's just a headache. It will be okay until it wasn't a headache. So I think that's a big thing is a lot of people don't realize it until it's too late or it gets worse.
Was that a doctor telling you that it was anxiety, or was that you yourself saying it?
Yeah, so the first ever doctor I went was cardiology because I was having really high heart rates. So I went to my primary care provider. She's like, I have no idea. So we're going to refer you to cardiology. The first ever cardiologist I saw was the one who diagnosed me with POTS. But before she diagnosed me with POTS, for 4 months, she was just like, it's anxiety. I've always been an anxious person. I'm on medication for anxiety and depression, but I just couldn't calm myself down. And so for a long time, we thought it was just anxiety attacks, panic attacks, until my heart rate started reaching 200 with me just sitting down. And I couldn't bring it back down. Like it would just stay stagnant. And so that's when her saying it was just anxiety started to realize it wasn't just anxiety at that point. So not only was I having a doctor saying that to me, I started telling myself that. And so when you start telling yourself something, you start to believe it enough, just like with anything. And so I really truly believed it was just my anxiety until everything started to change.
Unfortunately, I feel like that's such a common theme is that people are told that it's anxiety. I think in every single episode, pretty much so far, of the Leo Lounge, somebody has been told at first that their issue was anxiety rather than looking into what's actually going on.
Yeah, it's really sad and it's really common and it's horrible to realize that.
So, like you said, eventually you were diagnosed with POTS and then also later fibromyalgia and chronic musculoskeletal pain. What was it like finally starting to get some answers?
So I always had like muscle or bone problems. Growing up, I broke my right ankle like 9 times and it was always in the growth plate. Yeah, like soccer, I broke my toe, I broke my ring finger. I have broken so many bones. It's actually kind of concerning. Never my arms though, which is kind of funny. But I would have pain so bad, and, like, every winter, like, I would have this aching pain, and my dad would always joke, like, "Oh, you're getting old, like, you're older than me," and I never knew why it was so bad, and so eventually, when I got diagnosed with musculoskeletal pain, that really put that 2 and 2 together. Fibromyalgia kinda came after that point, that came on later in that year in December around my birthday. We kind of figured out that my pain wasn't just musculoskeletal pain and it wasn't in my head and me crying about my muscles hurting and everything hurting was actually fibromyalgia. I first got the POTS diagnosis and that was it gave it gave so much answers to the name of what was going on, but it also didn't give me a solution, which was really scary because there's not like a magical drug I can take or a magical pill. And we all know that, but I think at 16 I thought I can just fix this. I can take a medicine and everything will be fine and I can go back to sports and I can go back to school and have the friendships that I thought I was having that were good and I can go back to the relationship I was in and everything's fine. And it wasn't. And, not having a cure for this is really scary, but also you learn how to navigate it. But at 16 I thought it was the end all be all for sure.
Did it feel validating at all or more scary?
I think in certain aspects, it was validating in the sense of like, I know I wasn't crazy because I was told it was anxiety. I told it was just me being a teenage girl and everyone experienced pain. Like, if you can deal with your period and it being so bad, then you should be fine. I've literally been told that by a male doctor. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. And so I think that gave me validation of like I wasn't going insane and I wasn't being a crazy person, but it also gave me the fear of like, what now? Like, what do I do now? So it was kind of a double-edged sword in that aspect.
So, around the same time, you mentioned you also began experiencing non epileptic seizures, and they became one of the reasons you had to leave school during senior year. That must have been incredibly difficult. What do you remember
Yeah.
most about?
I don't fully remember all of my episodes. I've had a lot of episodes over the years, but the biggest episode that I remember that I've talked about on another podcast, but I've also talked a little bit on my TikTok about was I had an episode at school and a teacher did not know what to do in that situation, didn't know how to handle it. I completely passed out and I started seizing. There's a video of like students freaking out, kind of laughing, teacher kind of freaking out and laughing, not knowing what to do. Thank goodness I had a friend at the time that kinda knew my situation and knew how to handle it. EMS and health and nurses and all of that had to get involved, but that was really the turning point for not only me, but my parents and my school of they didn't know how to help me. They didn't know what to do. They weren't willing to give me an elevator pass because I didn't have a broken bone and I didn't meet the requirements of that. Keep in mind, one part of the school was 4 stories, the other part was 2 stories, so that was a nightmare going up and down the stairs, but I think that was a really big turning point for me of, like, I had 0 control over my body, and that's when it got really scary for me, and when I have non-epileptic seizures, sometimes I can hear what's going on. Sometimes I can hear the people freaking out. Like, there's been a few times where I've been with my family or my boyfriend, and I can hear them, but I can't do anything, and it's like you're trapped in your own body. It's the most scary experience unless you've actually dealt with something like it, but there's quite a few I remember, and there's quite a few that I don't. But I've heard that I it looks pretty creepy. My mom calls it my exorcism because we love horror in my house, so it's pretty funny.
I love that you guys are able to at least make a little bit of light about the situation and, not be 100% serious about it because it's so hard in life to be 100% serious about everything.
Yeah. It's taken a long time to get where we are and to, like, make jokes about it. Because for a long time, we had no idea what was going on, and everybody was just like, "Oh, no, here's Lily having another episode," and my little sister would be like, "Oh my gosh, I need to go grab the ice packs. Here I go." But now we all kind of, like haven't had that many this year in 2026, which is great. That's a win. I think the max I've had is, like, 6, which is awesome, but it's definitely, like, now we can joke about it and we understand what's going on, so there's, like, that healthy balance now.
Now, one of the themes you wanted to talk about is identity. When your health changed so dramatically, did it feel like you had to rediscover who Lily was?
I had no idea who I was. When I was in school, I took honors classes, I was enrolled in the community college as well, I was doing sports, and I was actually doing sports marketing and school marketing for the school. At the school, it's a animal, and it was the animal and media, so I was doing, like, all the TVs around the campus and all of that. So, even though I didn't like my high school, I hated my experience, it was horrible. When I had to leave school and I had to make that decision to go online for the rest of my junior and senior year, I had no idea who I was because swim was my entire life. I was swimming every single night from 9 to 10. Who am I without it? And eventually becoming swim captain and having that title, I held so dearly to my heart. And I held my team so close to my heart that I didn't a lot of people don't know, I didn't tell anybody when I left. I didn't even tell my friends. The biggest reason why I didn't tell anyone is because I don't think my heart could handle it or me emotionally could handle it. Like, I think if I told people and they would be like, "Oh, no, Lily, you have to stay," I would have pushed myself to my limit and probably something could have really dangerous happened to my health if I told them. So I basically cold turkeyed everyone, Irish exited. I didn't say anything. I didn't like people followed me on social media, so they kind of knew what was going on because that's when I started posting, but I didn't formally be like, "Hey, I'm leaving school." So when I left and lost my identity in that way, I really had to figure out like who my real friends were and who I could really trust in that time. And it really showed people's true colors and true intentions for sure.
So you mentioned friendships being something that's really important to you. How did chronic illness change the way that you experience friendships?
So I've always struggled with friendships. That's been something that if you follow me on TikTok, you know. It's been a chronic thing. Haha, chronic. um But, even now, I still struggle to make friendships that are understanding of, like, where I'm coming from, and quite a few of the friendships I have now, even including you, we all deal with chronic illness, or we know someone, or we love someone who has dealt with it. So I'm very particular on, like, "Hey, this is what I need. I if I can't do this, I can't, and I'm sorry." But it's really understanding, like, you have to meet everyone where they're at, and, I've lost a lot of friends along the way. I've gained quite a few, even some friends from work that, like, I went to a concert with. We saw Kesha. But, like, learning how to navigate real and true friendships and, like, understanding, as my boyfriend says, not everyone is made for every season of life. And I really have to remember that. It's really hard, but you learn how to navigate those friendships, definitely.
From what I remember, that Kesha concert, didn't people also mistake you for Kesha?
Oh my gosh, okay. So I know that video blew up. Like, I got, like, 4K followers just from that one video. Like, it's going crazy. It's still going crazy. Like, the mom, Janelle Evans from TLC, she commented on my video. Yeah, I don't know. So, basically, a whole bunch of people came up to me and were like, "You embody her presence. You remind me of her. You look like her." And it wasn't me claiming that I look like her, like, cause I don't think I do. It was just like I embodied her. Yeah. And so there's a lot of discourse on that video. It honestly makes me laugh, but it's given me a lot of followers and, I've made more friends in my community, but it's been pretty interesting. I don't know if Kesha's seen it. I love her, but we'll see.
She'll see it one day. You never know, it could pop up on the For You page.
I hope. I can hope, but
So, what has helped you find people who truly understand and support you?
whew, it has taken so much energy, honestly, more energy than my chronic illness and a flare up, honestly. It is really about finding the ones that genuinely care about you as, like, a person, chronic illness aside. It has taken so much time and effort to realize that not everybody's gonna be there, not everyone's gonna support you, and that's A-okay. But finding the ones that genuinely support you. When I met my boyfriend, Zach, I talk about him on TikTok, but, like, he's not really into social media. I met him in the height of me having non-epileptic seizures in 2024. Like, he had taken me to the hospital at 3 in the morning. He went with my mom to the emergency room. He he has salt packets, like, as much as I hate iodine salt, he'll go like, because I have my favorites, like, from well, Chick-fil-A's sea salt, but, like, he'll get salt packets and leave them in the car. Like, it is really the little things that matter. The fact that, like, he takes the time to ask me if I'm okay and how I'm doing and, like, if I need my water bottle refilled. It's really those friendships and relationships that you have to nurture. And, like, I rather have one really good friend than 20 friends that don't really like me or are talking junk the entire time. I really could care less because at the end of the day, I've been through hell and back with my health, and a friendship will never be more than my health and the people that actually care. And it takes time to realize that, especially for me as an ex people pleaser. We're working on it, but you really learn who is genuinely there for you. And like, I've met those people. I have those friends. I went to Kesha with them. My friend Tony, my friend Michael, my friend Noah, which funny enough, they're all my coworkers. So
Shout
you find your community. It takes time, but it happens for sure.
Now, one thing I really appreciate is your willingness to have honest conversations about things that aren't always so easy to talk about. Why is that so important to you?
I think growing up, I'm the eldest daughter. So me and my sister, we have an 8-year age gap. She is my everything. I don't oh, I can't talk about her too much. I don't know what I would do without her. Like literally, I think the roughest patches of my life, she has been my drive. But the hardest thing for me was before she was alive, I didn't have an older sister. I had to kind of learn everything on my own, and still to this day, I don't have an older sister. Do I ask her advice on everything, even though she's 8 years younger than me? Absolutely. But, cause she's, like, one of the smartest people, and she, like, has so much respect for herself and so much drive. She's everything I wish I was. But the biggest thing is I didn't have an older sister, and the biggest thing I wanna create on TikTok and just in general, wherever I go, is that older sister nurturing vibe, and, like, I'm not scared of having difficult conversations because at the end of the day, you need to have those conversations to survive and to thrive in life, and I think for the longest time, I wanted to fold into what everybody wanted me to be, like this picture perfect, da, and I can't. That's just not me. I talk about the uncomfortable things. I talked about my first ever period horror story on TikTok, because it happened on Halloween. Like, I don't care anymore. I think once you get bullied so much, you just kind of think comments start rolling off your back and you're just like, "It could be way worse." You know, there was a time in my life where I was in the emergency room every single day, and they thought I was drug seeking, and I don't think anybody's comment about me as a person can affect me anymore. You can't take anything else away from me, and that's a big thing of why I just don't care about whatever I talk about, and I really like that because it makes me more personable and, like, we can talk about anything you wanna talk about or vice versa, and I really like that.
I think it's really amazing what you're doing, especially with the feeling that you give off of being a big sister on TikTok. I was actually going to ask you about that because I see those posts sometimes and I'm like, this is really sweet. Like, for those that don't have a big sister to look up to or an older sibling to look up to for these types of questions, you kind of being there as that figure online is just really nice.
Yeah, I started a series called Older Sister Advice or Life Lessons with Lily. I'm on, like, episode 4 or 5. We've talked about breakups, we've talked about friendship breakups, we've talked about it all, setting boundaries, everything in between, and I really started that series because I was a people pleaser and, like, I wanted people to like me so bad, and I think a part of me still deep down does, but just doesn't wanna admit it. But I really I've really tried to put myself out there as, like, the older sister, the older friend, like, we're on FaceTime, like, we're besties because I really needed that growing up, and I do that also with my chronic illness content is because if there is a girl or someone, it doesn't matter who, that is going through something similar and they don't know how to handle it, I want them to have someone that they could reach out to other than a doctor or a provider that, like, understands what it's like. Still go to the doctor, please, but have that, like, understanding of, like, you're not crazy, you're not alone, because I felt so alone when I was 16 and sometimes even now. So having that really is empowering and I feel like can be very impactful.
So, when you think about the future now, what are you most excited for?
I mean, I'm at like 8K on TikTok. I originally didn't even expect it to go anywhere. I think the one video that blew up was me with my heart monitor on. I got a heart monitor, and it's me. It was like one of those like ones that are like that I have a really bad sensitivity to adhesive, and it's me ripping it off and just like cussing the entire time and like singing Taylor Swift because I'm freaking out because it hurts so bad. And that blew up and it has over 2.2 million views, just views alone. And so, like, I never really took TikTok or social media seriously. I mean, yes, I was the kid that would be like, "This is my whatever in the bathtub." Yes, I was that kid that pretended to do YouTube videos, 100%. Is that still my dream career? Absolutely, but I feel like now, like, being in college and understanding what I wanna do, like, business and marketing-wise, I can also now have my fun, safe space of, like, social media and growing that at the same time and, like, also using my schooling, but I really see, like, being more open and honest about chronic illness and being less isolated and, people talking about POTS more. Like, I've seen people talk about POTS more since the whole big virus, but I really want people to understand what we mean in other than people being like, "Ha, ha, ha, pots and pans." Like, I want people to genuinely understand what I'm saying and, like, that for everyone and just growing and seeing where it goes. So that's what I'm really excited about.
Lily, I think what really stands out about your story is that while chronic illness changed the direction of your life, it didn't take away your ability to keep growing, building relationships, and discovering new parts of yourself. I think that's something so many people will connect with. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
If
I end every episode with the same question. If you could please complete this sentence, I hope someone listening today remembers that.
you're not alone in your chronic illness or whatever you're dealing with. And it will get better and it will be okay. It just takes time.
I love that. Lily, thank you again for joining us today, and thank you to everyone listening. If today's conversation resonated with you, we'd love for you to share with someone who might need to hear it. And we'll see you next time on the Leo Lounge, where every story reminds someone they're not alone.